And joining us now from Capitol Hill, Jane Harman, Congresswoman Harman, just back from Pakistan and Afghanistan. Thanks so much for being with us at a critical time.
Thank you, Andrea.
You were on the ground. You've got a better feel than any of us for what's going on over there. There's been a lot of tension between President Karzai and the administration, particularly the special representative, Richard Holbrooke, who is there under the protection, if you will, of Secretary of State Clinton today. He hadn't gone back previously for a number of weeks. There's a lot of criticism back and forth. What's your sense on the ground? Can Hamid Karzai step up and deliver and clean up the corruption to warrant putting all of these additional troops in?
I'm pretty pessimistic about this, Andrea. I went from, by the way, Pakistan and Afghanistan to Israel, where I said I was much more optimistic about the chance of a Palestinian-Israeli agreement than I am about a way forward in Afghanistan. I think the Karzai record is deplorable. I've been writing articles. I've been on this program talking about it's the corruption, stupid. Just today in the Washington Post, there is the allegation that the Minister of Mines in Afghanistan was involved in a $30 million corruption case in which he gave a contract to a Chinese company for some mining interests in Afghanistan, and the president's brother is implicated in some of this. So the record's dismal. The question is that whether or not the Karzai government, which just declared its third anti-corruption task force, is going to clean up its act. President Karzai delivers his inauguration address tomorrow. Hopefully he will give us a more concrete idea and name a cabinet in the next days that includes folks who are both competent, ethnically diverse, and not corrupt. I didn't see any real signs of this last week when I asked about it, and so my bottom line is that I'm very, very skeptical that anything like the McChrystal recommendations make any sense whatsoever in Afghanistan. If we have no viable partner, no willing partner, and no one to hand off a more stable country to, I agree with our ambassador, Eikenberry, that we should set on a different strategy.
Well, Congresswoman, the other piece of this is Pakistan. You were there, and the leaders in Pakistan are very nervous that the administration is going to leave them hanging. They don't want us to be withdrawing from the Afghan side of the border. They are feeling vulnerable. Were you able to reassure them, or do you think that they've got a legitimate point there in Pakistan?
Well, there are a lot of good efforts going on in Afghanistan right now, Andrea, both on the military and the civil side at lower levels. The bottom up is a positive story. The problem is the top down. The Karzai government, and especially Ahmed Wali Karzai, one of the brothers of President Karzai, is exercising very negative influence in the Kandahar region, which is a region where, for sure, the security situation is deteriorating. I'm not for leaving Afghanistan. But what I am against, certainly if I had to vote today, I would vote no, is committing another 30 or 40,000 troops and another $30 to $54 billion with a B to solve this problem. It shouldn't be AFPAC. It needs to be PAC-AF. Our bigger security issue is Pakistan. The Pakistanis are only targeting terror groups in their country. They're not blocking the Taliban and other groups operating out of the tribal areas from attacking Afghanistan and potentially our surge in troops. So this is a bad situation for us. My bottom line, again, is I'm pretty negative on the McChrystal recommendations, given what Hamid Karzai's performance is. I'd be much more positive on more aid and a more strategic focus to help the Pakistanis and to help block al-Qaeda from growing in Yemen, Somalia, the Sudan, the north of Africa, and the United States of America, where it obviously is to some small extent. And our goal, obviously, is to prevent more folks like Zazi, who has been indicted in the United States, from affiliating with al-Qaeda, training to harm Americans.
Congresswoman, in in terms of Pakistan, Jim Jones, the National Security Advisor, went over and tried to pressure them to expand their search for the extremists to other regions. Do you see any sign that they are now willing to take that on as well?
Well, I sure hope so. The Zardari government is very weak, but we met with President Zardari and his civilian counterparts. We also met with the director of the intelligence service, Pasha. Afghanistan has a bifurcated government, civilian and military. Both sides said they intended to do more. Problem is that more at least seems to translate at present into more to confront the terror threat in their own country, not to confront the terror threat growing out of their country toward Pakistan and to train Westerners to attack the West, both in Europe and America. And they have to do that part too. Otherwise, I don't see a stable way forward in terms of what threatens us, which is the potential that Al-Qaeda or Al-Qaeda copycats can attack America in America.
Jane Harman, direct from Capitol Hill, thank you very much. Fresh from your trip to Afghanistan and Pakistan. Thanks for the debrief.